Hi, I'm Laura and welcome to the channel. Well, today we're going to talk about that transitional time when we realize, or I guess when we understand and accept that our children are now grown adults. And how do we go from managing them to respecting the decisions that they make? Well, this is Smart Women, Smart Conversation, a place where we grab a cup of coffee and talk about the things that affect women as we get into our golden years. And I think I have my Tofino, British Columbia mug today, so my favorite place on earth. I don't know if you've been there, but put it on your bucket list. So my daughter, and I mentioned before, is in her 30s and just lives a couple of miles from me. But we don't often make time for just the two of us to sit down and talk. Usually it's family gatherings, a birthday, holidays. So today we went and we had breakfast together, and I just got home, and it really got me to thinking on the way home. Well, actually, several times at the breakfast table when I looked over at my daughter, and she was sharing what was going on at work. She was sharing, some travels that she and her husband had planned. She was talking about world events, and I found myself looking at her and saying, this is the young woman that you raised. And it's very different than being the mom of someone you're managing to being the mom of someone you are respecting them, respecting their boundaries, truly listening to what makes them tick. And it's a good reminder because, as I look back, it's interesting. I was telling someone the other day, I feel like I'm in a weird niche. I wonder if any of you find yourself in this, I kind of call it a very small, very strange little niche where I'm 67. I have adult children. I started to have my children very late in life. So my first child was born when I was in my 30s. My last child was born when I was in my 40s. So I know that's a bit unusual. But I still have my parents. So my parents my mom's almost 90, my dad will be 94 next year. I'm 67, and now I have grown up children. So much different. It's so different than how our parents grew up. By this stage of life, my parents would have probably had grandchildren, great-grandchildren, who knows. My daughter has chosen, not to have children yet. So, and my boys are not married. So I'm in this strange little niche where I'm, 15 miles away from my mom and dad, who, while they're doing very, very well, I feel a bit of that caregiver, right? Stopping in, making sure they're okay, checking in. And then I have my kids who I still feel like I need to check in on them and make sure that they're doing okay and make sure they're happy. And, kids don't call like they used to. I don't know about your kids, my kids text. I got a call from my son, my youngest, yesterday about something, he needed me to, look into. And I was like, well, wait, how's this? How's that? How's school? How's that? And so when you get them on the phone, it's like a hook, you don't want to let go. But looking at my daughter today, I was forced to think back on the kind of mother that I was. And I'd like to say, I think we all want to say we did a good job raising our kids. We do the best we can do, and our kids are individuals. They're all different, and sometimes you have to, be almost a different kind of parent to your different children within your own family. My daughter was always very, opinionated and knew where she wanted to go and knew what she wanted to do. But I was a single mom for much of her formative years. And so I found myself, and I think I probably did it with all of my kids, I found myself not being a helicopter mom, but feeling like I had to over prepare her for any bad possibility that could happen to her down the road. I wanted her to be a woman who stood on her own and could handle anything that got thrown at her. I guess that was, my making up for the way that, maybe that my marriage had gone, ending in divorce, and not wanting my daughter to go through that, or if she did have to go through that, making sure that she was confident enough to make the right decisions for herself because she knew that she could take care of herself. So I think, looking back, I probably overdid the whole individuality, be able to stand up for yourself, expecting high standards, pushing her to be all that she could be, even if that wasn't what she wanted to be. And I guess it all worked out because she was a strong personality, and it got to the point where she could push back, not emotionally, she pushed back by showing me that she had a plan and that she would be successful at whatever she put her mind to, but it had to be what she wanted to do. And I'm the first to admit, I've had this conversation many times with my parents, with my children, that I was harder on her than I was on my boys. And I wonder how many of you feel that maybe you were harder on your daughters than you were on your sons. And maybe part of my situation was, yes, being a single mom. I got remarried when she was already off at college. I started dating my husband when she was finishing up high school, but we didn't get married until she was well into college. But she grew up in a different time. She was a lot more aware when my husband and I got divorced. I always felt that I was setting an example more for her than my boys even. I know that's wrong now that I'm a grown woman, but I'm talking about a 30-year-old me, 40-year-old me, even young 50s. I looked at things a little bit different. I was 50, 51 when I got remarried. So there were quite a few years in there where I was, I was the sole parent, and I wanted things my way because my children's success or failure I felt was all on me. And I didn't want my kids to miss out on anything because because their father and I had decided to get divorced. Divorce has gotten a lot more mainstream, and that's obviously not a good thing, but I know that it has. But even 20 years ago, 21 years ago when I got divorced from their dad, it wasn't. And in large part because I lived in a very family-centric community. And so a lot of it has to do, if you're living in a big city, yes, maybe among your friend group, more rural areas, smaller towns where everybody knows your business, you feel like your kids are at a bit of a disadvantage. Or maybe I just thought of it. Maybe I thought it was up here in my head. But it doesn't matter. I made decisions because of how I felt, right? I didn't want my kids to lack for anything because they were being raised by a single mother. Everything worked out great. I'll tell you, looking at my daughter this morning, I was reminded that it's time for me to pass that emotional baton on. She makes good decisions. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of the young woman that she is. And I don't need to comment on everything. If I would have done something differently than she did it, I have no reason to comment anymore. I want to hear what she thinks, how she feels. I want to know that she's happy, what makes her happy, what does she enjoy doing. I want to be part of her life as her mother, not as her judger, I guess I would say. Well, it's interesting. I know everyone has a different situation. I hope you'll take a moment to subscribe to the channel. I hope that you'll drop a comment. We're all living different lives. Our journey has all been incredibly different, but I do think that we can help each other as we navigate these golden years by, sharing our outlook and asking the question, did I do the best that I could do? And being okay with the little mistakes you made along the way, because we all made them. We all made them. Well, thanks for stopping by the channel. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. In the meantime, I'm going to sit back and enjoy my coffee and kind of relish in the wonderful breakfast that I had this morning. Take care. See you next time. Drop a comment. Bye-bye.